What is going on, gamers, and welcome back to the Slot 1 Super Podcast. I am Vilify, and I'm going to be your host today. Missed you guys. It's been a bit since I've been on the show. Missed the last episode, unfortunately, with some things I had to take care of. But I am back and better than ever, and I am ready to discuss Dokkan Battle with not only myself, but my two lovely co-hosts here. First and foremost, we'll go with the one that lives in the same country as me, Minato's Flash. How are we doing today?
Hi. I'm just kidding.
Hello.
I'm doing pretty good. We're here to talk about Dokkan, stuff like that. Yeah, you know what, Trace? No face cams. You know why? Maybe I lost my face cam. Maybe you gotta think about the situations that happens. Trace in chat. I see you right there.
You guys, you don't know the discussion we had about the face cams before we went live here. I'm not gonna get too much into it, but yeah, Minato somehow lost his camera. I'm just being lazy and didn't feel like using it, but Minato, he said he lost it.
Look, it's not lost. I just have to go look for it. Like, it's somewhere.
So you don't know where it is. That means
But, no, I know it's here. It's just somewhere here.
Okay.
So...
Well, someone else was making some noise, and I believe that is the other host of the show here. The one, the only, the canceled Heroes Agenda, unfortunately.
Never.
But the Masked Ningen. How are we doing today?
Okay. No, wait. Don't say canceled Heroes because Easy is this year.
Yeah, exactly. The Heroes Agenda lives on in my heart. I beat the Seriously Serious event with the Heroes team, so you know the Heroes the Heroes Agenda keeps.
That sounds so sad. That sounds so sad.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that new one with the one that's going to be we'll obviously talk about it, but there's going to be like a monthly thing going forwards, and that is it's the Seriously Serious. Dokkan's been getting real serious lately.
I only saw it as the Japanese logo, so I didn't know that was what it was called. That's awesome.
Yep. But yeah, I'll be doing okay. Looking forward to discussing everything Golden Week related. So ready to get to it.
Yeah, you said get to it. You would say that this Golden Week has been a hit so far?
Yeah, I hope you guys all appreciate the title. I know you do. It's,
the creative genius of the Masked Ningen, and it knows no bounds.
We do. We love
but
the
yes. But yes, we have a loaded show for you today. Golden Week, future speculation, stuff like that. Everything that goes that way. But before we get started, if you want to help support the podcast and you have any questions, comments, or shout outs, all donations and super chat comments and questions will be read out at the end of the show. So if you guys want to do any of that, please look forward to that, do all that fun stuff. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. First and foremost, the Golden Week celebration, right? Had a little bit of time beforehand to get into it with the show, right? Because obviously it came out during the middle of the week or whatever. And, we had some days to simmer on it. So first and foremost, the men of the hour, if you will, Goku and Hit. How are we feeling about those characters so far?
I mean, where do we want to start?
Oh yeah, true. I guess. Okay, so this is like a. I guess
we should talk about the good and then.
That's what I was gonna say.
The
like,
bad.
Okay.
This is the good news, bad news thing. Which one do we? I mean, I'll let you guys pick.
Yeah.
Good news, bad news.
Wait, no, that's why we said we're gonna go with the good.
Okay, so the good, right?
Yeah, that's why. That's why I had to switch. I had to switch the image quickly because I had Goku being the first image on the screen. But that's clearly not what we're going to talk about first. Then.
Yeah, we're all right.
Wait. So I gotta address something real quick because I see chat, right? Chat saying worst Golden Week in some time. No, I'm not even gonna address her yet. Let's go.
Okay. I got to address it, but I'm not going to address it.
Okay, well, do you want me to address it? Look,
what do you want to do? You brought it up.
We know there's maybe an issue with a few characters, but that doesn't determine the entire celebration.
Right. Evolution Blue Vegeta was part of the 10th anniversary, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, well, for real, like we'll talk about the good, right? Dokkan Fest hit. Definitely a strong contender for one of the best, TURs in the game, Dokkan Fest TURs in the game, alongside the likes of Kid Goku, the Glorios of the world. Very high quality release, fun character, and has an active skill effect, right? What did you say it was, Ningen? He improves his stance with improvement.
He's like changes stance due to improve or something like that. Yeah. Following on in the Pycon footsteps.
It's funny we said that, but I guess I'll briefly talk about summons. I did end up getting this hit, so that's pretty fun.
Yeah.
No Kaioken Goku, so I've been spared. Hit, I've been impressed with what I've seen so far. I've used him on his slew of teams, if you will. I know he's on a whopping 6, I think it is, maybe a little bit more. But overall, pretty good character. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, no, I mean, oh, you can go first then.
I was gonna say I didn't pull him, so my experience with him has been somewhat limited. I mean, I've still tried out him and some of his team setups with like the private server and stuff, but my luck was incredibly bad. I did the tickets and then was it like 5 rotations or something, I think, and like. Oh boy, the number of Tech Kale and Cauliflas and AGL Super Saiyan 3 Angel Gokus that I pulled is very depressing. But yeah, no hit, no Kaioken Goku. So a little bit disappointing, but it's one of those things I'm going to save for now to see what's going on in part 2. Because I don't want to keep pouring like every stone that we get from like the events and stuff like that into the banners. And then the part 2 banner comes out and I don't have any stones. So...
right.
But yeah, I've used him a little bit. I think he's really good. Obviously, he kind of reminds me of Glorio, where he has the... not only is he a stacker in a sort of different sense, because he stacks from his actual super attack effects, but he has that massive increase of attack because he gets the buff mid-turn for like every attack that he does. So it's similar to Glorio, where you see the attack stats jump up like so much each time. So if you get the turn where he ends up doing like 4 supers, like by the time you get to the 4th super attack, it's gone up so much compared to like the first one of the turn, which is always fun to see. It's like that 8 brain, just like big number go crazy. So it's quite fun. But yeah, he just is really good, right? He like basically does everything. He has all the like so many different effects with his abilities, his active skill as a ghost usher. Like, yeah, he's just really, really good. So I think his only downside is like lack of teams. He's on some good teams, so it's fine. He's on accelerated battle, which is a category that is just constantly being buffed and is one of the reasons why I still love the Glorio team so much. But yeah, I mean, his leader skill, I think outside of accelerated battle, his leader skill's not great, but I mean, when you compare him to the other units that are like the best TURs, I feel like he's kind of in a similar boat to Kid Goku, where they're really, really good as units, but they don't have the best leader skills. Because like until we get some easy A's and stuff, like Universe 6 as a category is practically unrunnable at the moment. But depending on the event, right? Like obviously we've got the you can still cheese some events with like Tech Kale and Tech Caulifla, but yeah, if Tech Kale and Caulifla get their easy A, if the part 2's a Universe 6 character, then obviously his team could be looking really good. But you can, if you really want to, just because he has accelerated battle as his lead, there's so many characters you can put on his team who aren't necessarily great for running with him, but just are really good, right? Like the 10-year anniversary characters and stuff like that. So, yeah, very, very good overall for sure.
Yeah, I think it's fun that you bring up some of the Universe 6 team. I mean, we're obviously going to be contingent on one of the Easy A's allegedly coming during the celebration, right? Kale and Caulifla being featured on that banner is kind of just a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
I was to say, if I was a betting man, I'd say that's going to happen. But if it doesn't, that team's definitely in a bit of a weird spot. And then I'd say more. I don't want to say more than likely, but I'm feeling pretty confident about Universe 6, or at the very least, tournament participants being this, Part 2 LR. But I guess we shall wait and see. Minato, I'm sure you have some thoughts.
Yeah, so I mean, the thing about Hit is, I feel like it's really, you would want like 1 or 2 better partners is what I'm gonna really say. I really do like Hit though. In general, he's a very strong character. I think that he's very well fit for both short content that we have right now and the long content. Very easy to make characters good. Just give them stacking. Duh. If you give a character stacking, they're good in the hardest red zones, more than likely, at least the Jiren fights. And then they're also good in festival battles, which is what this Hit, he is good in both of those different stages, right? Especially in festival battles, I actually haven't used them personally in festival battles yet, which is kind of crazy. I just been busy doing a bunch of other things, but Hit in that fight, obviously Tech Vegito at the end, his active skill and like he could probably solo the Vegito at the end himself with how hard his active skills would likely hit, given all the greatly stacks. And it's a Ghost Usher, and then he's gonna move forward to do even more damage than usual, because the thing about Hit is he will get the 60% or 66% attack with each attack he does. So the act skill will actually count as an additional attack that he would do. So all of his supers would end up doing extra damage as well. Very, very good character. Hit is just incredible. I think he, again, having that Ghost Usher is really what sets him especially above. I think without that, he would maybe, I would probably like a little more, because I've seen turns where Hit, you kind of have to you really want to slot one him right now. um Ideally what I end up doing is I have both of the hits together as a rotation, so I have one hit improved and the other hit not improved
Okay.
on his own team specifically, because they're each other's best linking partners. They'll link 7 out of 7, gives Hit all those defensive links like Cold Judgment and things like that, and then Hit's able to look pretty good, because even the unimproved Hit in a long enough fight, he will have enough stacks and defense to end up being fine for the most part.
Mhm.
But I think that the first hit, he, like, if he gets hit with a normal instantly, he'll take even some damage, I think, in like more so the Jiren red zones and things like that. But
Mhm.
besides that, I haven't really ever ran into an issue with this guy. He's very simple and easy to use.
Yep.
I like all the different effects he has. He's just a very fun character. No silly restrictions for him. You just kind of could use him wherever you want. I guess, he does want tournament participant allies for his intro, but that's not a difficult thing because we've gotten so many relevant tournament participants allies this year.
Mm.
Both during the anniversary and during April. So I think it's really, really good to go. But I just would like some more partners with him. And the reason for that is so then we could have one hit on each rotation rather than like for what I would use, hit on rotation with himself.
Yeah.
If you have LR PyCon, you could probably run like Cell's team and then hit
Who?
plus PyCon. LR Seriousness.
Oh, yeah. Okay. My
Yeah, if
bad.
you have that guy, you could run them as a rotation. I guess AGL PyCon links well with them, but they don't really like.
Mhm.
He doesn't give his support to him.
Yeah.
But like it's actually kind of funny because like AGL PyCon plus hit is funny in the sense that AGL PyCon and like they both have Ghost Ushers.
That's what I was gonna say.
you
It's
could
kind of
have
glitchy.
you could have like 2 different turns where you could use a Ghost Usher with them at the end
And
of
Boo
fights.
off lead.
Yeah,
And
he
the
runs Boo off
androids.
lead. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't think the androids do fit Cell's team actually, huh? Yeah. Actually, I think Boo fits Cell's team as well.
Yeah,
if
the
I'm
World
not
War Chaos,
mistaken.
yeah.
Oh, Boo.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, and then there's a bunch of things that can be done, and then you can get Boo's passive up because of the fact that, let's say you guys tier cells arrive. Ideally, maybe in the future we get a better Jiren. AGL Jiren links well with him, but AGL Jiren's not like crazy anymore. I guess I don't know if anyone's really tried though. It's like hit slot 1, AGL Jiren slot 2, but they don't have Cold Judgment, which I think is a really huge link. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
It's very situational, but maybe obviously LR Godgo could get an easy. We'll talk about them in a bit. But no, I like it. It's really fun. So
Yeah,
I
I think
can say so much about this guy.
one of the things you were saying about his leader skill as well, right? With the well, not his leader skill,
True.
but his the restriction thing, because obviously, like, it's 2 tournament participant allies or 1 Universe 6 ally in order to get his intro buff. So, like, if you're running his team, then the friend hit just counts as the Universe 6 ally. So then it means you can just like build the team however you want, basically. The only restriction he does have, which is really not that important, I guess, is like obviously he has the thing where if you have a full Universe 6 rotation, he has a scouter, which outside of doing like the Universe 6 mission, you're probably not going to be doing that because there aren't that many good Universe 6 characters. But that's the kind of thing where I think we've talked about it like in the past as well. It's like I don't mind if characters have a sort of little extra thing like that with a restriction where if you don't have it active, it's not a huge loss, right? Like a scour is really useful, but it doesn't make hit worse of a unit, like performance wise, if you don't have that active, right? Whereas obviously when we go on to talk about Goku, I feel like his one obviously like massively affects what he's doing. So I think hits one is just one of those ones that if you get it active, nice. Like if Universe 6 gets some buffs, like having a scout is good. But if you don't have it, it's not the end of the world.
The reason why he has that scouter is because Universe 6 is going to be weak and can Like I don't think Universe 6 is ever going to be a competitive team. Maybe for like, a month or two. But I doubt it's going to be like a long-lasting team. And the reason why he has the Scouter is to help protect them.
Mm.
Just like kind of how Tech Hit. The thing about Tech Hit is, if you remember his ZA, he has passives with Universe 6. He gets,
yeah, that too.
He per Universe 6 ally, he gets extra stats, I believe, which helps him because he doesn't link with them. And then when all allies are Universe 6, I think he gets like a chance to stun, if I'm not mistaken, like start of turn. So
yeah,
and he was like a super Battle Road era character.
Yeah.
So the idea with him was that he would help protect that Universe 6 team, which wasn't necessarily the greatest at the time. And in terms of linking with him and just being a team in general, it was like a decent team. I think at the time, like when Tech Hit his EZA came out, but it's not like a crazy team. And it never realistically, like, there's points in time where the Universe 6 was like, that team, you could use him, but so I think that's why there's the not the Ghost Usher, the Scouter. So it's like, okay, well, you see a super tax in an unfavorable spot, you just use the Ghost Usher, and you can just get rid of that for the turn and set your next rotation better potentially, right?
yeah.
But that's what I think of the Scouter purpose. It's because that team is not ever gonna be a very competitive team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that you said that well. Kind of circling back, honestly, I already forget which one of you said it, but they're like a simple unit. Was it you, Minato? Where you're like, I think you're talking about Hit, where you're just like, he's easy to use, he's simple.
Yeah, I think Hit, again, he's a very straightforward character, where you use him and he just stacks. I don't know. You could just slot one him. Yeah. It's very easy. He's not like complicated in his kit.
Well, that's what we like, right? I think it's always nice when a character just has ease of access or ease of accessibility in terms of like how you're using them. That was the beauty of what made Beast Gohan so special, where it was just like you park him in slot one, you don't think about it.
Yeah, exactly. It just does lots of good stuff, and you don't have to like jump through hoops to get him to do it. So
you could say it's playing the game for you, basically.
Yes, but so what's funny, I guess, kind of moving along here, talking about Hit and stuff, he does have a counterpart, believe it or not. And this is our good friend Kaioken Blue Goku, right? And I think, I guess we kind of just start with one of the points that we led into in terms of like restrictions and stuff like that. The essential portion of his intro buff, losing quite a key mechanic, huh? If you don't have it.
Well, it's like the intro buff part is fine, I think, right? Because it's similar to Hit, where if you have a friend, like, you get it. But the thing that he has is that he has the thing as part of his passive where if you have a full Reps of Universe 7 rotation, he gets, like, I think it's 70% extra attack.
Yeah, 70% attack,
and he gets extra crit chance. And the thing is...
I think the attack isn't really that important. It's
he's supposed to be a damage-dealing unit, though. And it's like, if you then don't run him on that specific team, he doesn't do damage. Like, it's crazy.
I'm not really sure what he's supposed to be. I feel like he's supposed to be more balanced. Because, I know it sounds weird, but it's like, he doesn't... He's supposed, like, you could say he's supposed to be a damaging character, but I think that's just because the nature of him being a slot 2 character, you would assume a character in slot 2 would be more damage dealing. And he does do a bunch of these additional supers, which, I definitely think that you could view him as more of a damage dealing character because of that. At the same time, it's like he has decent defenses to the point where it's like, it's not even bad. Like 3 mil defense guard, he has a dodge chance. Like, it's workable. I just don't think he has that offense. If they were going for an offensive character, obviously, and we both agree they failed.
Yeah.
One thing I really hate about him is his intro passive, not the condition.
Yes.
The condition.
Yeah,
I think that's what Vilify was talking about, because the thing I hate about the intro passive is it runs out and then you're forced to use the revive.
Yeah.
The thing that I like about these standby revives, that you could choose when to use it whenever the conditions fulfilled. With this guy's it's his 4th entry turn, which sucks, but at least it's not too bad in these very long fights. But the thing is that he loses his guard, he loses 170% defense, and his guaranteed additional super. So not only is he losing so much of the extra damage he could do, which is already not that great in the first place, so his damage is basically cut in a third if you don't get an additional super.
Mm-hmm.
He's losing so much defense that you're forced to use the revive on
Yeah.
like turn 5 basically, which I mean then it could be a point where you, let's say you're like in the Jiren fight in the Goku story red zone, like that Tech Kefla hits you with a super without this guy's passive, you're kind of almost cooked, it feels like, you know? And it's like, well, okay, do I have to waste my revive on the Tech Kefla phase?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of stupid in that regard. Where you can get locked into having to use it when it should be a mechanic that helps protect your team. It's just more so ripping the mechanic away, and all he gets, realistically, all he gets is just 20% crit chance and dodge because everything else is just everything he lost from his intro.
Yeah.
Which I think is a very dumb decision because it makes him especially just like it doesn't feel satisfying to pull off the revive, or it doesn't feel like it's a worth trade-off because you're just keeping the unit the exact same as he was, except 80% chance to crit goes to 100%. Whoopee, right? I get an extra 20% chance to dodge, which is valuable. But I don't think it's gonna make or break this character in terms of what he's trying to do. Another thing is we all know the HP conditions with this character. It makes him very inconsistent damage wise and defensively. You could have turns where he changes a bunch of tech key spheres, you're forced to grab them all with him, then you heal to 90% HP or something, and then this guy you can't, because you want to try and stay around the range of slightly above 70%. So then if you do that successfully, so that you can get both the defense and the offense, but then you get a bunch of tech orbs and you heal, it's going to be an issue.
Well,
and with him constantly lowering your HP, it makes a character like AJOUI Goku more susceptible to dying to normals. He could probably take a normal or two when you're at full HP, but this guy will make you lose HP. So,
I mean, the thing is, though, I've noticed on that turn where he does get turn the full field of orbs into tech, his start of turn defense is low, so he doesn't really heal you that much, even with the full 23 orbs, because he only has he has sub 300k defense.
Well, I'm not talking about this. Well, I'm not talking about the standby. I'm talking about the normal form. When he's, because he still randomly changes tech key spheres of a certain type to tech. Before his standby form.
Okay.
And he doesn't have the high starter turn defense still there, but it's enough. I don't know. I think I would make so many changes to this guy.
Yeah.
And I think his standby form is okay. It doesn't really do anything crazy. I like the idea. I just think what he gains after this should be so much extra.
Yeah, he should just keep everything he has from his intro, and then post revive should just get even better than that, so that to make him a better unit. Because there's definitely a lot wrong with this guy's design. It's like you say, I don't even necessarily, when I say he's supposed to be a damage dealer, it's kind of like you said, it's is he? We can't even really tell from what he's actually doing. It's what is he supposed to be, which is not a great start for a unit to be in already, where it's not really, he's not doing anything particularly exceptionally enough to then have a very clear role of what he's supposed to be doing in these team builds. Because if he is supposed to be a damage dealer, because he doesn't have the craziest defense, and you would think, I know it's a kind of a thing that they just do with most of the Kaioken Gokus in the game, but it's you lose HP every time he super attacks. And I don't think that's as huge an issue. I see some people people going crazy about it, the fact that, oh no, he makes you lose HP. But if the trade-off is because he's doing massive damage, then that's fine. I think that's a fine strategy for a character, right? But he isn't. And then the way his passive is worded, when I read it, when his details came out, and you read his standby, and it's he's getting all these extra stats with orbs. He changes the entire field of orbs. Outside of the damage thing, I quite like the design of his standby, the way it works, because you don't want those characters when we get the standby revive type sort of archetype where it's somebody then just ends up dying in slot 1 to, like, let's say a slot 1 super. I know he, like, has low defense, but you can get into a situation where you've got a revive active on the turn, so you know you're not going to lose, but then, like, you get insta slot 1 supered, so you die. So even though you do revive, so you don't lose, you haven't done any damage on that turn, so you've made no progress into actually winning the event. Like, you want to get your characters to at least get some attacks off before somebody gets killed, and then you revive. So I do quite like that design, where it's like you can put him in slot 1, grab all the orbs, and you know, like, 100%, unless it's an event that disables dodge, obviously, like, he isn't going to get hit, and so then he gets to do his attack, and then he dies, and which obviously is the way he's designed, because he doesn't have good defense even after he attacks. But then he dies, you revive, he does the revival attack. Like, on paper, I really like that idea as a design, but yeah, it's just like, when you read the kit and you see that it's like, gets all these extra stats with the orbs and everything, like, I was expecting, 40 million or, 50 million even maybe for, like, his attack stat on that turn for this standby where he picks up all the orbs. Because I feel like that's what the trade-off should be, right? Like, he does one big attack and then you die, and then revive and sort of carry on from there. But the fact that his attack stats
10%,
it's just so, like, disappointing. Yeah, like,
it should be like 30%.
Yeah, it's
instead
just
of 10%. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's.
And another thing is, like, why doesn't he stack? Like, he could, like, if he stacks, that would fix how much damage the standby does. But the standby does pretty decent damage, to be honest. A big thing about him not doing so much damage is that he's only getting 200% plus what? It's 430% start of turn and 159% when attacking. Like, there's characters that do so much more than that, especially new characters, right? And then it's his finish skill that gets the extra 159% attack, which makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
of course. But he doesn't get that when he's actually attacking himself, which is unfortunate, right? I think the thing about this Kaioken Goku, like, he's like one of the, like, there's like barely any Kaioken Gokus that don't stack. I mean, being fair, I guess we did get the EZA for the Tech Kaioken, or no, not the Tech one. I don't know what I'm thinking of. The STR LR Kaioken Goku, he doesn't stack, and then the Super Kaioken Goku also doesn't stack. Like, this guy should stack because he's a new premium character.
Yeah,
I think that'd be, like, I would change his super attack effect. Just make it greatly raises attack and defense, immense damage, and then instead of the one, like, the HP conditions for those extra stats, that should just be stats he builds up.
Yeah.
And then I think those are the only changes I would make. I don't really like how the intro runs out, but I think if he's stacking, at least it won't feel as forced as a slot 2 character. But yeah, like, why doesn't he stack?
It's fun. It's funny you bring that up, Minato. Kind of digging a little deep here, but do you remember back to, like, Jinro videos? He used to do Kaioken mechanic videos, and that was like stacking. That's what you call them, right?
The thing is that it's not even like that was just how that's what the community used to call it.
Yeah, because
AJO Kaioken Yoku was like the first character to kind of have that was, like, at least popularized, and that's why it used to be called the Kaioken mechanic stacking.
Yeah.
Right.
for your old new Dokkan heads, right? And it's like he doesn't even have that ability. So
yeah,
it's just unfortunate.
Wasn't that was like back in this. It just reminds me, like, the nostalgia now of, like, some of the old terms. Like, whenever a unit that got on a Dokkan Awakening but had Shattering the Limit, it was called a rebirth. Yeah.
That's because I think it was called like that in the V Jump or something. I think that's why.
But yeah, I think the big point you made that I really agree with as well is the fact that you feel forced to use his standby revive and everything because he runs out of that, like, guard and defensive capability, where, like, obviously we know you can only get one revive on the team in an event. Like, you want that revive to be ideally saved, like, for that clutch moment when you really need it, and then not have a character that's like, well, I just have to use it now because otherwise he's going to die anyway, right? And I think that is very frustrating part of his design for sure.
I mean, that's something we talked about even dating back to somebody like the GT Duo, where it was kind of like, okay, I want the revive this turn, we can use that standby, or whenever you're really going to need it, you're going to have it. and you're not feeling like you're shoehorned into using it in one spot. But also, I guess around their time, like events weren't going on the level of like the Festival of Battles or even the Red Zone Jiren and stuff like that, right? I mean, obviously 70 turns isn't the standard, but like even 15 turn events wasn't really I'm not gonna say not a thing, but wasn't really like definitely not common in terms of the 8th anniversary, right? Because you think about like there was a desire for the Buu duo to have that long content, and it didn't really come until like really the Omega Shenron fight. I know that's kind of a tangent, but you know, we're talking about reviving characters.
Yeah,
right?
it's just
standby.
It's just like they in the meta they released in, like they had they had their abilities. You could use them when you wanted to, like when you needed them, which is good. Whereas this guy, you just kind of you can be in a situation where you have to use it. Yeah, that's always great. That was such a great turn because that's where that could be so useful. Is it's like you can set it up. You know they're going to revive that turn because even if even if you don't get slot 1 supered and like your first 2 guys are fine, like because GT Vegeta doesn't have good defense, he's going to end up dying at the end of the turn regardless. But then everybody gets a load of support, and you get to, like I said, you get to have a turn where you do a whole bunch of damage and then you die, and then you revive and you keep going, and you made a little bit of progress that turn. Whereas if you die immediately on a revive turn, it just kind of sucks, right? Whereas that's the only thing I like about this guy's design. If his standby kit was tweaked a little bit, I think it could be really good. But yeah, it's just the fact that you kind of forced into using it at a certain point potentially, because otherwise he'd just die anyway, right? So very annoying.
How many Dokkan characters could be saved by one line of their passive being altered just a tad, huh? It's So I guess kind of like someone in the chat just mentioned for Golden Week it was a week release. This Kaioken Goku is definitely sort of bucking a trend, if you will, right?
Yeah.
Because like the Golden Week TURs for the last couple of years, like even dating back to like the Goku Gohan, I think is kind of like the last time we didn't just have like 2 Golden Week TURs that were kind of like these guys are the best in the game, at least close to it. Sort of dating back like with 2023, right? We had the World Tournament characters, but Junior still excels in his role to this day, despite it not really being like a meta role. But he is meta for what he is. I don't want to say intended for, but at least at the very least, he's the best at what he's doing, right? In that World Tournament, and World Tournament Goku, or 23rd World Tournament being Goku being as good as he was, and then the next year, I mean, we're still talking about how good Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Fat Buu are. So, Hit lived up to the expectation for the Golden Week TURs, and then our boy Kaioken Goku unfortunately did not. And I think this was at least for the Golden Week standard, I'd say a rare miss.
Yeah, because even the year before that, right? The year before the 23rd World Tournament was, or the year before Goku and Gohan and Cell, that was the first. Yeah, that was the first Global and JP same time Golden Week, and that was the GT Super Saiyans. And it's like basically every Golden Week they've come out as being like pretty much. Like the Golden Week TURs have been like the number 1 and number 2 TUR in the game, maybe not.
Or it's
Gohan
like
and Cell,
at the bare minimum, top 10, top 5.
Yeah, top 5, like top 5 easy kind of.
I think with the Gohan and Cell, it's only really like what it was Ginyu, and then who was Hine that year?
Majin Vegeta, and then there was Raditz.
Oh yeah, no. So it's definitely Ginyu, and then those 2 is what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
at the top of my head, maybe like you could say Tech Android.
The next year was God Goku.
So, well, that's the same.
I'll say the next year.
Yeah, that's fair. But like, okay, let's talk about like just like Golden Week of the past week, like just the history of Golden Week, right? We had Blue Evolution Vegeta and STR Jiren on that one banner together. Obviously, Blue Evolution Vegeta as the Golden Week release was really good. We had Trunks and Zamasu for what? We had Trunks and Zamasu. Then the year after Trunks and Zamasu was
Gotenks and Buu, right?
Yeah, Gotenks and Buu. Then we had the GT Super Saiyans. Then we had Goku, Gohan, and Cell. Then, I guess the years continue on, and that's like the more modern years of Dokkan. I just want to talk about the older years specifically because all those characters were seen as very, very good. I guess Trunks on release was a little shaky until like Legendary Goku and everything came out because obviously you could tell he was designed for that event. Once that event came out, we knew it was like, oh, he's a super long event character, and it was like these events last for like, I don't know, 5 turns, So that's a thing. But all these Golden Week characters were incredible, and I don't see this this Blue Falcon Goku is not designed as like, oh, you know, there's an event that's going to come out and Blue Falcon Goku is going to be really good for it. He doesn't have that kind of design to him.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, so I mean, yeah, it's just a thing where this guy is. You could argue he's the worst Golden Week character on release, just like in Dokkan history, which is very unfortunate considering how long people have been waiting for this guy.
Yeah,
I don't remember a time where I would consider a Golden Week character not top 10.
I think the only time, the only one that came up, I think we were talking about on stream the other day, like a lot of people weren't huge fans of Tech Exchange Boo, like on release, but even then, I don't know if he was as badly received as this guy, because I know people did like Gotenks. Although it's actually funny looking back, because I made a video before about like the history of the Golden Week, like different characters, and it was kind of funny looking back as a global player, because obviously before they made Golden Week the same time thing, there's a couple of those releases that I just had straight up forgotten were the Golden Week releases on JP. And it's funny to think back, because like I remember when Trunks and Zamasu came out on Global, and people were still like really hyped for them. And that was back when, because like a good few years ago, like when they came out, that was back when Global was still almost all the time, like almost exactly 6 months behind JP. So even at that time, like people were still super hyped for Trunks and Zamasu. And then I remember when Gotenks and Boo came out, they were nowhere near as hype for like the global side. And obviously that's because we were still in that sort of cycle where we then knew what the next like 6 months of releases were, and so because the stuff that had just come out on JP in like the month or two before was so much better, like people weren't then hyped for some of these global releases. But like I say, some of the ones like Trunks and Trunks and Zamasu, people were still really hyped for them because they were really good. And so yeah, it's kind of like, and Vilify did mention like the Saiyan Day characters. I think that's worth mentioning as well, because that's one of those trends that they did kind of seem to have followed for the last couple of years now, where the Saiyan Day TUR has come out and basically been like the best TUR in the game. So I think that's one of the things where people kind of still had that hope that the trend would continue, right? That these Golden Week characters would be up there, like, you know, top 3, top 5 minimum, which I think is another one of the reasons why Goku feels so disappointing.
I had a good like kind of not like an argument.
Especially seeing hit either too, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, I had a train of thought, and then just like in listening to what Ningen was saying, I completely lost it.
But yeah,
I hate when that happens.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it. Yeah, so with Gotenks and Boo, it was kind of funny because of just like the way that the global schedule worked. I believe that like the Golden Week release would be part of like a thank you celebration, right?
Yeah, it was
I've always
late
been a JP
in the
guy,
year. Yeah, I can double check.
I think I'm pretty sure like they branded that as like the thank you celebration, and it was like Gotenks and Boo, who nobody cared about when it came out, right?
Yeah.
The only person I know who was excited was like a personal friend of mine, and he's just like a super huge Majin Buu guy. And so like he was super excited to summon for that Boo. But other than that, it was kind of just like whatever, where we had like super high ceilings with those characters with Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks and Super Boo, but you had to go through a side story to get to it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Fat Boo just wasn't doing much in base, and then base Gotenks was the same thing. I think Super Saiyan Gotenks individually had his own good like usages with his stuns and stuff like that. Very good for Super Battle Road, especially if you got him turned up. So this is like one of those characters where it's like usually you're mad at seeing them in slot 7, but not this Gotenks, because then you don't have to see the base form.
Yeah. Yeah, and he did raise defense on Super. He got multiple supers he could stun. Like, he was pretty good, even as, like, the Super Saiyan Gotenks. Yeah, they came out on Global in November, so I think that is the celebration that they were calling, like, the thank you celebration. Even later on when, like, Golden Week was earlier in the year, like, and Tanabata stuff was coming out at that time and things like that. I think that's usually where they call it, like, the thank you celebration. But, yeah, Gotenks and Fat Boo came out. It was, like, the 6th of November, 2020, so...
Syncing up Golden Week was such a good call.
Yep.
Especially back in 2021, where it's like, especially because like the GT Super Saiyans were such like so, like fun for a lot of people, right? Like I know I have a ton of people have nostalgia for that Vegeta more than the Goku. It seems like just because of how good he was. I just kind of specifically because I was talking about this with some friends. The GT Goku I remember was always a nice kind of unit to have for. I know this is going to sound funny, but the punching machine event.
Yep.
Where like you couldn't use items, or in the stage you couldn't use items, right? Because he was so self-sustaining for something like that. And so that was always helpful.
Yeah, no, literally physical
niche,
Super Saiyan GT Goku is how I managed to finally do the punching bag event without items. So yeah. And yeah, it was just hype because obviously it was a rare thing back then that Global would get same time stuff or Global First or anything like that. So yeah, the fact that a big celebration plus that Golden Week just went over really well, right? Because wasn't that we got the GT version of the Goku event for Goku Day. And then they ended the celebration with the surprise, the 2-year Super Saiyan 4's Easy A's. Because I remember people going crazy because it appeared in the news first for JP and wasn't in the news for Global. So people were like, oh, it's same time, but Global's not getting the Easy A's. And then it came into the news like 2 days later or something. But that was such a good Golden Week. And the fact that it was both versions at the same time for the first time. But yeah, it kind of started that trend then of Golden Week being this really good celebration. And like you said, like Fat Boo and Super Saiyan 3 Goku we still talk about now. I mean, Super Saiyan 3 Goku's still good in some events, things like Battle Hardened Foes, like short events, especially where that like stun can come in handy in the first like turn. Like he can still be, and Fat Boo has his shenanigans, right? He can still be run off lead in some events because of the revival going straight into like a Ghost Usher turn. So yeah, Golden Week just has that kind of level of expectation which Hit obviously meets, but just Goku just doesn't, unfortunately, which is what makes it so disappointing.
It is very hard to power creep and age out 90% damage reduction in guard.
That is true.
One turn. I mean, look at it's like even to this day, like if imagine like the world of AGL Frieza, Golden Frieza did not have that leader skill, right? Like you could bet your bottom dollar people would be trying to run him in short content.
Yeah.
That leader skill, like that's just so dumb.
Yeah, it's so crazy that he's just like, because that's the thing, like people keep talking about, just as a sidebar to that, is like people keep talking about how much they've wanted for years now because he's like a second anniversary character, that STR Super Saiyan 3 GT Goku ECA, and like one day he's gonna get it and then you can't use him in any of the events because he's got a nuking leader skill. Which is crazy because like,
I mean, the thing about that Golden Frieza at this point, I don't think he has enough defense even with 90% reduction.
No, he doesn't. He has like sub 100k defense, so even with 90% damage reduction, that's not good enough.
It's you kind of reminded me of something when you were bringing up the when you were just talking about like with the nuking and stuff. Did you guys know that Devilman actually doesn't one-shot some of these new bosses?
Yep.
Yeah.
They have so much HP.
That's how out of hand power creep gotten this year. The HP inflation of 2025.
Actually, yeah, because that does remind me. That brings me back to like, you know, saying about Goku and his shortcomings is like, we talked about how he should, you know, hit a lot harder, especially let's say that active skill turn. I think one of the reasons why the damage that he does is so disappointing is like, we're obviously used to seeing some bigger attack stat numbers from some other characters and stuff like that. But I think the big thing is because of the post anniversary power creep. And like you say, like, so bosses have so much HP now that then, a character who seems to be like, when you look at his design and like the way he's being put forward, it's like, oh, this is a damage dealing character, but he just doesn't do that much damage compared to how much HP the bosses have now, and the fact that he damages you on top of it as well. It's it's kind of crazy for like post anniversary power creep meta. This guy just very much like just does not feel good enough in any aspect, pretty much, which is a real shame.
The bar is high these days, and you really kind of have to live up to that. And I think so far in 2025 they've done an alright job at that. You know, maybe they haven't. Now that I think about it. Well, it's like Kid Goku, obviously he was fine, right? We talk about who was right after was it Cell?
Yep.
No. He was
luckily
Cell. Who else was after? Goku? Oh, it was Daima Vegeta, that's who it was.
Oh, that was before.
Well, I was like, so, it was post anniversary technically. I know he was part of it.
One thing I want to say, Esther Cell is a little better. I would say he's a lot better because now he's not locked to his own team. Thank you, Hits. Thank you, Hits. Ooh. Thank you. Even on his own team, you could run the other cell as a floater, I guess, right? But the thing is that you don't have to have both cells slot one anymore.
Yep.
Which means that the other cell isn't a useless piece of garbage trash. Yes! Yes! Finally! You could actually run Cell by himself where he gets full passive and not have to worry about the ugly, disgusting mid cell without the full passive. Thank gosh.
There you go.
Oh my god! I just had to say that. Okay.
You sound pretty excited, and I think we kind of all are getting the idea here, right? Just like hit very good Kaioken Goku. We could talk about him forever and like everything that it reminds us of. It's fun going down memory lane though, with all some of this stuff. But
Yeah, exactly.
back to the present day. Let's whip it right back around, huh?
Well,
Let's talk about. Oh,
I was gonna say we're
What do you
talking
got?
about. I don't have the arts for them up, but I know one of the things that someone said in chat when we were saying about people already saying that this is like a disappointing Golden Week is the fact that obviously Goku. Not a lot of people like Goku. Like we don't think Goku is very good. We think Hit is very good. But there were also 2 other new units that came out,
yeah.
which were the
Come
banner
on,
units.
that's what I was gonna say.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's just. You know, I was looking at something on Dokkan. I did the full power mission on the wrong event. Whoopsie.
Oh no.
Let's see. Okay, so the banner units,
You
right?
hate to see it.
Yeah. So Magetta, I guess we could talk about him first, right? He's kind of the man of the hour, if you will.
God.
Very memorable character. You know, we're super excited here at the Slot One Super Podcast. I'm speaking for Minato's Flash specifically. We co-sign this unit. You can bring him everywhere.
Oh wait,
he's
wait.
just-
Let's show. I never said all of that. He's still mid.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
really stupid that he gets his stun for 3 turns. I don't
Yeah.
know why they gave him. If he didn't have that, you could still use him as like a floater, and he provides like 2-turn support, and he's like decent, but that's really it. And you could tell that he's kind of designed in a way that he's supposed to be right in slot 1 because he gives his buffs when attacking. But then it's stupid because if he's in slot 1 and gets hit with a super attack, he gets stunned for 3 turns.
Mhm. Yes, it's pretty
So
good.
then you could-
Pretty good design.
And from what I saw, even if he dodge, he still gets stunned.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah, because I don't know. I think I might have like, to be fair, I actually completely forgot that he has the raise allies attack and defense for 2 turns on super. Because like, I didn't think he was good or anything, obviously, but at first I was a bit surprised when I saw people like complaining about the like he gets stunned for 3 turns, because I guess just looking at like the rest of his passive, it was like, well, he's a slot 3 floating unit, right? Like surely that's all you use him for. And then if he gets stunned after he attacks in slot 3, it doesn't really matter because he's already attacked, and then by the time he comes back again, he'll be unstunned. But obviously then it's just weird that he has that. I guess to be fair, super attacking in slot 3, he's then giving that 30% for 2 turns. He's giving that buff to the next rotation. So I just feel like looking at his kit, he's just a slot 3 floating unit, so the stun thing doesn't really matter. But even then, like it's not like he's a good floating slot 3 support unit or anything.
It's because you can use him there, but the thing is that he gives all allies 20% defense and then use 20% attack when attacking. Which
True, yeah.
is a support buff that he has to be in slot 1 to provide. He has to be before the other characters to provide that. And then a full universe 6 rotation, I believe he gets guard, does he not?
Yeah, guard and so
it's like
physical orb changing.
I said this earlier, Universe 6 is not going to be a team that, like, is that why Hit has the scouter?
So Magetta can not get super attacked.
Is that why Hit has the scouter?
So they do play the game.
That is terrible. I actually didn't realise this one. That is actually a good point. I didn't even realise. That shows you how much attention I paid to this guy's kit after reading it once, and then I guess just immediately forgetting all about him, is the fact that, yeah, he doesn't even actually give his support until he attacks. So, yeah, that is actually terrible.
Yeah.
He is just awful. Oh, he's so bad.
I think you guys like this character a lot.
Oh, man.
Oh my goodness, I never thought about that.
It's so funny as well because it is obviously a character that nobody cares about, so it just kind of makes it funnier. There's like he's a throwaway character, and he sucks. Like it would be really disappointing if the banner unit was a character that people actually liked and he was this bad. But it's kind of funny that it is just this random character that no one cares. I don't mean to offend like the number 1 Magetta stan out there, but yeah, the character that like nobody cares about, and he's also terrible.
My God, this is Magetta's first solo card in the game, is it not?
Yes,
Like that's
it
like an
is.
SSR.
You got hella Boda but that's it.
Yeah, because there's an SR
like,
and it
SR
awakens
Megetta,
into
Yeah, that's what I'm
Boda.
saying.
Yeah, so there is no standalone like SSR. Oh man, and yeah, he bad.
He's not that bad. Come on, guys.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, use him in the Universe 6 mission for that Vegeta event.
Yeah,
He's got type advantage in that event. Actually, yeah, he'd be great. Go for it.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna have to play it again anyway because I did it for the wrong one. So I have to go back and try it again.
Oh man, but
Full power Frieza's gonna look a little better at least, I guess.
I admit I was wrong. You know, from looking at it, it seems like Piccolo's pretty decent.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, he's okay. As in like decent, as in like a 4 out of 10. I don't like him, but
No, I don't like him.
you could at least get him to work.
Yeah.
It's weird because he's got this like very specific design, right? Where he just does one thing and then that's it. And so it's like
What I hate
on most
him is
teams,
he's
it's like,
kinda
why would
like-
you run him over one of the other options? Like,
It's because to me, he's like turn 5 the unit.
Mm.
If you flow him around though, it'd be like more like turn 7 or 8 though, which is like, you know, it's fine. But I just think that you're not gonna get use of him in short events.
Mhm.
In long events, he's gonna use that attack before the final phase. So it's like it'll help. But if you get it like earlier on, like at turn 6, which I don't think is like, so like let's say you get him turn 1, you float him off, it's turn 4, then you float him off again, that'll be turn 7, right? If I'm not mistaken. So with all that being said, this like you can get his full hit on turn 7. It's like, you know, some fights can end, like, you know, if you're like in the Goku Blackfire stuff, like it could end then, and then he'll have the 70% chance to dodge still. If he doesn't get hit somehow, he'll have some damage reduction, which is nice. Like, I don't know. I just don't think he should lose that damage reduction. I think it's pretty stupid.
yeah. Well, the thing that I think that is the most annoying about it is like we talk about sometimes with characters like that you know, I've always been a big fan of like characters who have different kind of designs, right? Like if a character comes out and they have like a new unique sort of design, it's like we said when we talked about last time, like physical Super Kaioken. Like I don't think he's that great, but I do think he's got kind of like an interesting sort of quirky design. So like on paper, the idea of a character that is essentially like sealed and then a couple of turns later he does like this one massive attack, I'm not necessarily mad at that like as a unit. It's just I think the way it's executed I really don't like, right? Because like you would think that if he can't attack for the, I mean he can, right? He does normals, and the funny thing is obviously you can use an item and just unseal him, but then obviously he doesn't have the like big attack buff that he gets later on, so it's not like he hits very hard. But like if you're going to design a character like that, you'd think it would be like a sort of Tech Broly kind of thing, right? Where he's just like an invincible tank that then doesn't really do anything attack wise. And then when he gets the attack off, he does this big attack. Because I mean, the big attack can be good, right? I think the first time I tried using him on the Kaioken Goku team, he got hit twice before he attacked. And then he still did like a 51 million attack stat, which is pretty cool. But like, that's the thing I don't like as well, is like, if before he can attack, he doesn't really do anything. But then every time he gets hit, he loses his stats. So then when you do get to the turn where he can do the big attack, if he's been hit multiple times, then he's not actually even going to do like a crazy attack. So he's such a situational character. Like if you get him on those first few turns and you either choose to float him or put him on slot 2 or something like that, because you can put him in slots where there's no attacks, then the turn where you do get to do that one big hit, as long as he hasn't been hit a single time, like he does do like this really big attack stat. But yeah, if he gets hit a bunch of times before then, the whole point is that he doesn't do anything for 5 turns and then does this one big attack. But if he gets hit a whole bunch of times before then, he doesn't actually even do that big of an attack. Now, obviously, he does have 70, or it's a 50% chance to dodge. Does he get, I'm just looking at his kit quickly. Does he get extra dodge anywhere, or is it literally just 50%? Okay, yeah, for 4 turns. So he has 70%. So you can get lucky and he can dodge attacks in those first couple of turns. But we all know with like the UI memes and such, like so many characters now have 70% chance to dodge, and it feels like they get hit like all the time. So yeah, it's just a really weird design. Like if he didn't have that where he loses the stats and could just be this crazy tank for 5 turns, then he does this massive attack stat and then becomes a sort of like, you know, average defense, average attack kind of character. I probably wouldn't be mad at that kind of design. It's just, yeah, it feels very, very weird because in those first few turns where he can't really do anything, if you get unlucky and he gets hit a bunch of times, it takes away from the one big thing he's then supposed to do. So then, like I said, I know he is just a banner unit, but it's like at the end of the day, it's like, why would you run him on the team over multiple other options of like Dokkan Fest exclusives or LRs or like Easy A characters and stuff? It's like, why would you run him on the team, basically?
If there's not going to be a point to the character, why even like release them?
Exactly, yeah.
If you're never going to, it's like, I'd rather you just put more resources and stuff like that into the main unit than even design the banner unit if there's not going to be any really intended usage. But I guess it's more of just kind of like banner fodder, you know, give you an Awadi just to hit you with that. I guess that's the point.
It's kind of a shame as well, though, because like I can't remember if any of the previous ones have been like really, really good, but like the banner units from last year, like the Tech Evil Boo and the Physical Go Tanks were pretty good. Like could at least hold up in most of the sort of content that was out at the time. But the year before, the STR Krillin from Goku's banner was really good. TN from Piccolo's banner was okay, but I would probably say it for like on release is probably better than Piccolo and Magetta. So yeah.
So like from 2025 in specific, Hercule or Gokule, whatever you want to call them, right? Very good banner unit. What else do we got in here? How about Beerus?
Oh, in terms of I mean for like the previous Golden Week ones, but yeah, for even for this year,
Golden Week, my bad.
But even for this year, like I feel like these guys are probably towards the lower end of the list for banner units. Yeah, even compared to like end of last year, like I actually didn't have them. I pulled them off that free 30 ticket summon thing, but like the banner unit for Lord Slug, whose names I always forget because they're such important Dragon Ball characters. Is it Anguilla and something or other? But like even they, I would say, are probably better than they're better than Piccolo and Magetta, like even now. But yeah, it's
when did Slug drop on global?
Well, Slug dropped at the same time for both versions because they're already synced, baby.
Let's go. All right, I'm looking at it right now.
Was it October?
Yeah. It was Halloween.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, Angela and Metamacha.
Metamacha, that's it.
There you go.
But yeah, like
any Metamacha fans in chat?
Someone out there. He's someone's favorite Dragon Ball character somewhere.
Has to be.
But yeah, just that really doesn't help, I guess, with the overall feeling and like vibe, I guess, of Golden Week for the community as a whole, right? It's like it's not just the headliners themselves, like one of them not being good enough or for what we wanted, but yeah, the fact that both the banner units are disappointing as well. And yeah, funnily enough, like I said, I didn't pull Hit or Goku, but I did pull both Piccolo and Magetta. So
there you go.
I don't think I've actually even awakened them yet.
You won.
I don't think I have. Let me double check.
A lot of good.
I have not.
A lot of bad. While Ningen is double checking here.
No, I have not.
I guess one thing that we haven't really talked about in terms of the new characters is something that's going to be a recurring trend moving forward, I guess, and that is the special tickets on these banners now. Part of the EX missions, you were able to get 14 tickets, which could have been a multi on both banners for you, or 2 on 1, whatever you prefer. But I think that is something that's going to be pretty interesting moving forward. This is, I think, really something that's nice for someone who's on the fence about a banner, where like, should I summon? It could be like, no, just do the tickets, right? And you don't have to pay for these ones.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's actually crazy, because I think they said in the post, right, it's because it's due to like the kind of the whole 10th year is meant to be special, right? Like this whole year is just kind of things that are supposed to be a little bit different or a little bit extra special, like, and potentially won't still be the case like once we get to the 11th anniversary and beyond. But yeah, like every month from now on, like every sort of like, I mean, I guess this is for Golden Week, so it will include dual Dokkan Fest and stuff like that. Like every Dokkan Fest that drops, it will be interesting to see if it counts for worldwide as well, but I guess I don't see why not. Yeah, every Dokkan Fest that drops from now on, like every month, you'll get essentially 14 14 summons, like 14 units, but yeah, free summons on those banners, which, you know, we talk about it all the time. When you get an opportunity for free summons, like, there will be people out there that will pull the new units off of those free tickets. And the best part is, the event, like, rather than one of these big things where you save up tickets throughout the whole event, like with the anniversary where we had like the 77 tickets and stuff like that, if they do it the same way they did it for Golden Week, the event drops like on the day the banners come out, like at the same time. Like that event, that Seriously Serious event, like the first stage came out at the exact same time that the banners came out. So if you really wanted to, like, you just do that event first, do your 2 free like 7 ticket multis, and then you might pull the new Dokkan Fest, and then you just don't have to summon at all, which is crazy, like, for a gacha game to do that, like, especially Dokkan. And so even if it is just for the remainder of this year, like, that's crazy good. Definitely.
And it's especially nice when it's not a dual Dokkan Fest, right? Where you just kind of have one banner to commit to. Where this case, I mean, it's pretty easy, right? Where you're just like, this Goku is not worth going after. Unless you're just a big fan of the character, which I understand, right? But I think that moving forward, especially just for this year in specific, it's going to be helpful. Because like a lot of the times where I'll just tell people, like, when I do Should You Summon videos, it'd be like, you know, if you want to test the waters with the rotation, I'm not going to say that's like the worst thing I've ever heard. But now this could potentially just save you from even having to think about it. And in a game like this where saving stones is so important, especially if you are one of the, you know, or if you are a free to play player, which I advise that you should be, right? It's just nice to have that, because it's just free summons are free summons. I mean, I know I'm speaking from experience here. The tickets came through big time for me. I almost pulled an SSR. I didn't quite, but at the end of the day, it was free.
Yeah, the fact they weren't guaranteed SSR either is kind of funny. But you know, it's free summons. It's a free shot at the Dokkan Fest. Like, it is definitely a cool thing. And obviously with the dual Dokkan Fest, it's cool because obviously you could end up getting one of the characters, and then you only have to summon on one of the banners, so it can work out nicely that way as well. I'm sure somebody in the chat said they pulled the hit off the free tickets like earlier. So
there has to be somebody out there.
Yeah, there are definitely people. Like, you think the number of people that play the game, like, there are definitely people out there that have pulled these guys. I mean, I'm sure there's probably at least one person that pulled both of them right off the tickets. They literally did the 7 tickets on Hit's banner and then the 7 tickets on Goku's banner, and actually got both of them. So free summons are always good, right? Even if they're
that person out there, I hope they stub their toe. That's not nice.
There you go. Someone in the chat said they saw somebody who posted about pulling both of them. But
that's crazy. But I mean, it's nice.
It'll be pretty cool going forward, because we'll get a Dokkan Fest at the end of this month. Trying to remember who that was in last year's time slot. But getting like free summons for them is definitely pretty good.
Last year, I have these banners pulled up so I can look well. But that's how we're feeling. Minato, any thoughts on this? You've been quiet for a bit. I know we've been talking a lot.
Yeah, I know. I just didn't really have anything to say, so I just didn't say anything.
You're not happy about the free tickets?
I mean, they're cool for sure. It's 14 tickets, and the fact that we're gonna get them every month is really nice too.
Yeah.
I didn't get anything with them personally. No, actually, no.
Yeah.
I got my gut with them. But I'm not like, like, oh my goodness.
So you're talking about the Dokkan Fest at the end of May, right?
Yes, I think it was Rose for JP last year.
For Globest, it was Frieza.
Okay.
Globest, who's that?
I don't know. I was just saying. I like to say it. But nice. So I'm just thinking about other stuff. That we have a lot to talk about, so it's tough to remember everything. But we're kind of moving forward into speculation here for part 2. You guys know Golden Week has a part 2 LR. This is always kind of like a fun time of the year, just with celebrations in general, right? Where you try and put together context clues, and you're like, what on earth could this LR be? Any thoughts? Any speculation? I have a guess in mind. I'm sure I can hear you guys out, and I'll say mine after, but one of you is going to say it.
I mean, realistically, I think that there's 2 big... Okay. I think there's 3 big options. I know the other 2 are very obvious. I'm going to say the one that I think is not super obvious. There is a chance that the Part 2 LR is unrelated to this and is a Daima character.
Okay.
Not
I think
impossible. I agree
think
with
there's
that.
a chance they just push out a Daima release in the time slot where there would be a Part 2 LR. I think it could make just a lot of sense because there's a lot of like questioning going on, like when are they gonna release some of these Daima characters? You know, Tanabata I think is a really good spot. Potentially, we could see maybe mini Super Saiyan 4. We could see Super Saiyan 3 Adult Vegeta. Daima Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta should return during Tanabata as well if they follow the normal time frame. Because
Okay.
Frieza first form returned for Tanabata last year, and he was the same time slot. But usually, like I would say usually it is related this part to LR. It's just that they could decide, hey, we actually plan to release a Diamond character in this spot instead of making an actual part 2 to Golden Week.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I just want to put that out there because what if it's like a part 2 LR that releases as part of a Goku Day celebration and then it's mini Super Saiyan 4 Goku and they just drop like a carnival coin banner for him or a Dokkan Festival or banner for him.
It could be interesting.
That
Yeah.
would be brutal.
Who knows?
Just the thought of a Dokkan Fest LR banner right after a dual Dokkan Fest is
I
rough.
mean, at least if it was a single banner, it would have pity, we would assume. But
I would just if it was a DFLR banner, there would be the pity coin.
because I think that's the other thing we sort of didn't mention as well with these Golden Week characters is the fact that these
That's
banners
true.
don't have pity, so it is it makes them even more risky to like summon on.
Yeah. And at least that's consistent with like the wording choice that they used. Where
Yep.
they're like, we don't plan on doing this for major or for like marquee celebrations for TURs.
Yeah.
Where like anniversary and worldwide are a little bit different of a story, but like stuff like this is obviously different.
Yeah, because they mentioned specifically like Saiyan Day wouldn't have it, and obviously it didn't. But yeah, so I mean, because in theory the Part 2 LR, even if it is like a yellow coin LR, would have it as well, right? So at least there's that. But yeah, that would be interesting. I could see it, right? Because obviously Goku Day happens just before like the Part 2 LR is scheduled to come out, and each year I went back and looked over the last couple of years for like a video, and sometimes there's been a unit, sometimes there's been EZAs, sometimes there hasn't really been anything. So yeah, they could definitely make it like the Part 2 LR is actually more for Goku Day theme rather than, because obviously we don't really know. I don't know if they haven't like specifically said anywhere, because like in like a producer letter type, because we haven't had a real proper thing like that, like the specific theme of the celebration, right? Because we don't know if the specific theme is the Universe 6 versus Universe 7 arc, then that would obviously massively limit the possibilities for like a Part 2 LR, right? So
we could go with the theme being Break the Limits, because it's called Break the Limits Dokkan Campaign. So it could be characters who broke their own limits.
yeah, so the Super Saiyan 4 Goku thing fits there, right? It's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He could, it could be a thing like that where he's breaking his limits. Kefla could still be a character that's considered for that, though.
Yeah.
I think as well. So.
Yeah, that was definitely the guess that I had going. I mean, not that I'm breaking new grounds with that, but
yeah, because it's funny.
That's definitely where I was leaning.
I think the funny thing is obviously because this celebration is very similar like the previous with like Cell's celebration, because it has this tie-in with like tournament participants. It feels like a lot of the characters that we speculated as like the Part 2 for Cell that ended up being PyCon, like a lot of those characters could then just still be the Part 2 LR for this celebration instead, right? Like a Kefla, like an Angel Golden Frieza, because it still fits that like tournament participants or like reps of whether it's Universe 6 or Universe 7, like they all still kind of fit that theme. But yeah, I think Minato, I think it was you that I saw on Twitter said it before I'd seen anyone else say it. But the idea of a reversible exchange like Goku plus Hit, I think is a really, really good idea, because obviously he would go on both their teams because he's on all the categories for both of them. Obviously, if the STR Hit and God Goku do get an EZA, that's another really good unit to go with them as well. I think that would be a really good idea, because one of the things that I've thought about when we've speculated about Yellow Coin LRs, and I think I've said it before, is like would they use the new anniversary mechanic like straight away again on like a yellow coin LR? But actually, I think it was this time slot last year, or just after, I guess, because we talked about how at the end of May that was when Rose came out, and his Part 2 LR was Cell Max, who was a yellow coin LR, and they gave him the target ability, which was obviously the anniversary ability. So we could see a yellow coin LR come out and have the reversible exchange thing. And yeah, Hit plus Goku I think would be quite interesting for sure.
Yes, for sure. I like it.
Also, I really want to see that Hit and God Goku ECA. Do we all think that it's soft confirmed by that Dokkan post, right?
Yeah.
Oh, easy. Well, okay. One thing, I don't know if you've seen it, Ningen, but there's 3 ID slots between the AGO Blue Falcon and then the Piccolo. And then those each count as an awakening step. LR EZs are the only ones that have 3 steps in awakening. So I think with that, plus the Hit and God Goku in the little like Twitter post, makes me think that we'll see their EZA this week potentially.
Yeah, I think I did see that as a Proton. Was it Proton said? Yeah, it's like the gap in the IDs makes it seem like it would be an LR EZA. So yeah, that's
Just an LR.
It just seems funny because otherwise, like, because I don't know, I can't. It's for the Seriously Serious event, right? That post was for. So like, if you actually took Hit and God Goku into that event, like, they just get absolutely destroyed. So I feel like that is them accidentally like confirming that he's going to get an EZA, because otherwise they're recommending you use a character in the event that's just going to get absolutely destroyed, which is kind of funny. Yeah.
Well, I have a quick thing to say for the Part 2 LR. I actually have one guarantee.
Okay.
Their active skill effect is not going to be Get Serious.
We
said we wanted to talk about PyCon a little bit, and I was like, we didn't talk about PyCon.
Yeah, because it's funny because PyCon fits in as well with the tournament participants thing. He links well with Hit.
He could have just slid right into the celebration as the Part 2 LR, and people wouldn't have been very happy, but it could have worked.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that we've gone like back to back, like I say, with these, even though the theme is not specifically the same, like the fact that it is a lot of tournament participants buffs, which I think is good, right? Like Minato said, right? It's made Cell better having some of these other options and like another setup that he can be run with. Because it's one of those things we don't normally like if they did a big Buu Saga celebration and then went straight into another Buu Saga celebration, then I feel like people sort of will complain. But I think this time it kind of works because the Cell celebration on its own probably wasn't enough for tournament participants to have that like really good setup, whereas now there's quite a few other different options. And yeah, PyCon works really well. We don't have to talk about him for ages, obviously, because, you know, he wasn't out when we did the last episode, but he's been out for a little bit now. I think he's really good. I really like him. I got super lucky and pulled him off of, like, the first ticket pack, so I didn't have to worry about using stones or anything, which, of course,
What'd you pull him off of?
The good old Global W, the global exclusive ticket packs. Let's go. But yeah, so very lucky. Got him straight away. He's very good. Yeah, very fun. Works well with Hit. Unfortunately, he's not on Hit's team, and Hit's not on his team. But
how do they work well
you can run them under Cell. You can run them on Glorio's team.
That was just a funny sentence. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they work really well together, but
they work. Yeah, they work really well together on the teams that they are on. But unfortunately, they don't share any categories, apart from tournament participants, of course. So
you're still talking about PyCon, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing about PyCon is also the leader skill change for yellow coin LRs.
Yep.
We wanted to talk about that as well.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
200% for yellow coin LRs. That is a pretty big deal considering, it's still not up to date with the modern leader skill being the 250/220. But it is a step in the right direction where, we kind of see characters last year like LR Cell Max, where it's like just their leader skill is not up to par, right? Where it's just like it's completely behind, right? We're talking like we have pure 200s in the game and we're still getting legendary summon characters with 150s and stuff like that, where, we are looking down the barrel of like, it's like, these leader skills are years outdated and there's almost never a reason to summon on a yellow coin banner. I mean, there still really isn't, but it's even like it's just another negative point along the long list of reasons to not summon. And one of them is just like, oh, if you pull the character, well, you're not going to want to run two of them because you're sacrificing, if like especially with like a 220 or I guess with a 200, right? You're sacrificing 60% just off of stats alone, missing the 30 or even potentially 50. It could be 100. Yeah. So not good.
Yeah, because yellow coin LRs for a very long time were just kind of in that position where, like, they could be good on teams, but you just kind of were never really considering them as an option for a leader, because the leader skill was just so much lower than what we would be expecting. Because even now in like the current meta, now that we've moved into more difficult events and we've moved into teams being the 250/220, even like 170 feels like it's too low, right? Like if you're running a 170 lead and you're running a friend 220, like you can still make it work. But yeah, I think them jumping up to 200%, and obviously hopefully that will still be the case going forward, it being two categories, because the last, even when the percentage was lower, the last few yellow coin LRs I think have all been two categories. So that is a really good sign, right? Because obviously whoever the part 2 LR is, unless they do something like Minato said, maybe if it's Daima related, they make it like a carnival. It means we know that the unit is going to have, if it is a yellow coin LR, going to have the two categories for 200%, which is still very good. Like it still works very well in the meta. Having a 200% lead and then a friend like 220 is still going to be perfectly fine, right, for taking on these difficult events. So I think that's probably one of the biggest takeaways from that PyCon release, right, is getting that big update to the yellow coin LRs, because it gives us that look ahead to, unless they do change it to carnivore or something, the part 2 Golden Week character is going to have two 200% category leader skills, which is pretty good.
For sure. A nice change. I mean, it's like, we've been waiting, I don't know if I've been like anxiously waiting for it or anything like that, but it was always kind of just like another reason to say don't summon on these. But unfortunately, I still don't think it changes my mindset on that. And not that that's like a brave take to say I don't think players should be summoning on these, but if you are going to be somebody who's going to do it, you're going to fall for the trap, if you will. At least if you pull the character, you'll be rewarded with a 200% leader rather than a 150 or 170 even.
It just gives them that little bit of extra value. And I guess the funny thing is though as well, like, because those banners do have pity, so like to a certain extent, if like say the part 2 LR4 Golden Week has two like pretty decent categories with 200% as the leader skill, like at least if you summon for them you're going to get them, as opposed to like going super hard for hit or heaven forbid Kaioken Goku and then you just don't get them, right? So at least now, because that's the thing is, I did see people say like back when, because obviously yellow coin banners were the first banners that they put the pity system on, and I did see people say it's like, well, great, this type of banner has pity, but it's still not a unit that I really want to summon for. Whereas obviously now this leader skill increase gives them much more value, and so the fact that banner does have the pity system like has more value as well, right? Because those units are much more worth having. So
Global debuted the pity system with Tree of Might, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like, oh yeah, there's a pity system here for this this bang up character, huh?
Yeah, this absolute must summon beast. Was it Ribrienne Trio for JP? Because I think she was then the next one that came out for Global.
I'll give you kind of a funny story here. I did like a few multis on that banner because I was like, let me support that players will summon. Let me be part of the metric for like, yes, people want a pity system. So I was like, let me summon on the banner to contribute, if you will. And maybe my efforts worked because the worldwide download celebration had pity. So,
yeah, exactly.
You can't say it did work, but you can't say it didn't work.
Yeah, I did also, to be fair, summon for Tree of Might Goku, and I'm fairly sure it took me to pity to get him. Which, I mean, at least that means I did get him, though, because I mean, unfortunately, I'm in that position where my account, because I do have most characters, obviously, like, I'm in a position where all of the bonus SSRs that I'm pulling are able to be traded in for coins, so I can get to that P a little bit quicker. Because actually it was this time last year. Hopefully I can repeat that luck this year because part 1 was so bad for me. But the part 2 LR last year for Golden Week was the AGL Ultimate Gohan. I pulled so many SSRs in the summons that I did. It took me like 400 stones to get to the pity for him. So, yeah, I would like a repeat of that for sure. But yeah, when it comes to the part 2 LRs for Golden Week, it's interesting to think, like, with the fact that this Goku has sort of bucked the trend, like we're saying, has not been quite at the quality level we would be expecting. What are your guys' thoughts on the power level that we could see for the part 2 LR? Because obviously last year we got AGL Ultimate Gohan, who he was pretty good, but I wouldn't say he was like anything super, super crazy. But of course, the year before, the part 2 LR for Golden Week was Bulma, who came out and was then like arguably the best unit in the game. So yeah, what do you think we could see in terms of that sort of situation?
I think hopefully, if we're going to talk about expectations, I think if they're on the level of PyCon in terms of power, I think that's fine. It doesn't. I definitely don't believe that it needs to be like a Bulma situation where we're arguing for her as number 1. I was definitely always on the Orange Piccolo train in terms of that one, but like obviously Bulma was very impressive, right? So we don't have to discuss that, but I think that she's not the standard in terms of where they need to be. But so long as they are serviceable and fun to run and not just like this character where you're like, oh, they need to be. It's like, because Gohan, I'm pretty sure, was pretty restricted, right? Like it was just Buu Saga or bust. I don't know.
Not really.
Not really.
He did favor a Buu Saga team.
Yeah,
I think he was just kind of underwhelming in terms of his numbers, and he didn't want like his obviously Ultimate Gohan Link sets are always kind of weird. But I think he could look pretty decent, honestly. I think he was probably a little better than people give him credit.
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, so we were talking about this earlier in the show where we have like intro buffs that are like essential to the character, right? Where you look at like Kaioken Blue Goku, especially, it's like you don't have access to this guard right away from those initial turns. But right here with Gohan, you need 2 or more Majin Buu Saga category allies on the team, and then you get defensive support and ki. So, you know, helpful, but not a crutch to the character where it's still like if they don't have this, they're just like they're done. It's help, like obviously support is support, like you don't want to get rid of that, but yeah. So that's where I guess I kind of so when they activate the active skill or they get 24 ki, they're also giving support. This is Ultimate Gohan we're talking about here. Yeah, just kind of looking at him here. But definitely, like, when we think about this Ultimate Gohan, we definitely weren't, like, tearing him up with, like, Bulma, where, like, yeah, this is a top 3 unit in the game. But also, with that, it's like Beast Gohan was also number 1 at this time, so we kind of knew that like, they weren't going to be number 1.
Yeah.
And that is definitely going to be the case this year as well. If this Part 2 LR is better than Super Vegito, I'll eat it.
Yeah, that would be crazy. It's going to be interesting to see who the unit is that actually dethrones Vegito and how ridiculous that unit is going to have to be, right?
Yeah. We'll see. Eventually it'll happen, but like it'll be interesting. Because the thing is that they have to shape the fight around the character. Because the thing is that Vegito himself, I just don't see like what they're gonna do for Vegito himself. But the fight has to be shaped around them to where, let's say, I don't know, it's like a turn 5 fight, and then Vegito is just like on turn 5 taking so much damage that he gets crushed. Like it has to be a thing where like Vegito himself gets crushed because he doesn't have defensive stacks, and then it's like a turn 5 to 7 event, and then that's where old best unit in the game comes out. Maybe similar design to like Beast Gohan, and then it's like, oh, you know, in these events that came out, they're the hardest fights. Now Vegito doesn't dominate as much because he doesn't have the time to stack like he once did.
Yeah, plus I mean,
kind of like what we.
No, go on.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's the Vegito part itself is the bit that is crazy, right? Because the thing is, like the base form versions of the 10 years, like there are definitely situations where they are not all that, right? So
they can get killed in Battle Hard and Formidable Foes.
Yep.
Tech Vegito? No, unless he's Slot 1.
No, I'm talking about the pre-fusion.
Well, yeah. No, I'm talking about like the Super Saiyan Goku.
With damage reduction, he's fine.
I think if it's a thing that's like Super Saiyan Goku in turn 5. But like in Battle Hard and Foes, no way. I think it's a thing of basically maybe even a, well, it could be like a super long fight where Goku with his 40% reduction gets creamed. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like where you have to save Vegito, but then Goku's out, and then
Stop
Goku
it,
gets
Bringer.
creamed, you know?
Yeah.
But even then you have the Vegeta you could switch into.
If
The
someone's
Patara.
advocating for the Patara break, I had to. jump
Yeah,
in
I
it,
saw
though.
that.
Bringer is a funny guy.
That's the thing.
That's why
Is,
Tapion and Minosha have an easy aid.
it's funny because like the Patara break thing is cool and like the Veku thing is cool, but it's just the fact that it takes away your ability to use the literal like 2 best units in the game. So it's like I just never want to do it because it's like why would I want to do that instead of use Vegito or Gogeta? Like it's crazy.
Yeah, but that Usher is definitely like. I mean, that's just like a cheese.
It is
right,
super
where you're just
good,
running,
yeah.
like,
And obviously the fact that he then
you
also
run that with Fat Boo.
it's like not only do you get the Ghost Usher from him, but then also the turn after he has 100% chance to dodge, which is also really useful. But again, it's just like even though that is really good, like I just want to use Gogeta.
Right.
Like that active skill. I love the like everything about Gogeta, the animations, like the active skill giving everybody else that insane buff, like he's just so good. But there are situations where if you take that out of it, like just the hype and like wanting to see Gogeta, wanting to use Gogeta, like especially the actual Goku version, like the Veku ability, like that ability can just straight up win you events, like especially the short events like the battle hardened foes. Like that ability is just so good. So
Definitely works.
but yeah, Gohan definitely wasn't in the discussion for being the best unit with like Bulma. But then I think I'm trying to remember, was there who was the part 2 LR? Oh yeah, the part 2 LR before that was the for Cell and Gohan, it was the Tech Goku and Gohan. And I seem to remember like on release they were quite good. I thought that was a really fun unit. I really love that as like a sort of what if. I mean it is a what if, but it's not like anything super crazy like Heroes or something like that, right? But it's just like what if it was Goku wasn't dead and is fighting with Gohan? I liked that like interesting take on like him going Super Saiyan 2 like because like of Goku's encouragement rather than it being like a rage thing. Like, I thought that unit was really cool, but then I don't know if there was like maybe it was like the worldwide power creep afterwards or something, but they just aged out like not long after their release, which was unfortunate. But I really liked that unit.
I sort of saw that character for at least for global players as sort of like a light introduction to what the 7-year LRs were in terms of like their ability to easy access to key and then the guaranteed additional super that they had. I believe it was on 20 key, very similar to what the 7-year LRs did. And I'm pretty sure they had a decent leader skill. Were they Goku's family?
They might have been Goku family, yeah. Funnily enough, I can't remember. I can't actually remember how those summons even went, but yeah, Minato and I did a summon collab for the Goku and Gohan LR.
I singled.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Now that I think about it, yeah, Goku family or Kamehameha 150, and this was in the 200% meta.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so it's just unfortunate, like we said before, right? Yellow Coin LRs just not really having that leader skill that you wanted, but they were so good to run on other teams. Like they're such a fun character, so I can't wait for them to get an easy A. Like,
this is a really funny passive. So they have 3 separate procs of attack 59 and defense 58.
Yeah.
So it's start of turn, and then with 12 key, and then 18 or more key, and then you get a guaranteed additional on 20 or more. Then for every key sphere you get attack and defense. There's no percentage there. It's 5%, excuse me, and chance performing a critical hit 5%. So if you get 23, then you're going to perform a crit. Well, if you get 20 in this case, but you know what I mean. Then they just raise attack and defense for 1 turn. So no stacking, but they kind of felt a little bit like what I guess an off-brand version of the 7-year LRs, and they were very good when they came out.
Yeah, and the fact that we have the easy A's for Cell and Goku Gohan now means that like it's not out of the realms of possibility that they could get their easy A soon.
Pat the Power Kid Goku messed everything up. Now it's like, who the hell's gonna? It's like anybody can easy A.
Yeah, because that's obviously with Goku Gohan, like it's Gohan Day first, so it's Gohan Day, then Goku Day, then Goten Day. Obviously coming up within the next week. Last year it was an easy A, which was I actually forgot it was only last year. I don't know why it feels like it was longer ago, but that was when Tech Ultimate Gohan got his easy A. It was on the 8th of May last year. So yeah, we could see a Goku or Gohan get an easy A. And so yeah, why not that unit? It's Goku and Gohan. The Tech. That'd be. I just really want them to get an easy A. I hope it will be good, but I guess we'll see.
Indeed. It's I don't know why I'm struggling right now. It's funny these things happen, right? But anything else that we need to talk about today?
Um,
Am I missing anything?
I mean, there's World Tournament this weekend, but like,
yeah, that's a huge discussion. We're gonna be swiping up a lot, right?
Yep, everyone's favorite game mode. Good old Piccolo Jr. I mean, that's the thing. Like you said before, when we talked about Golden Week characters, and you mentioned Piccolo Jr. and him like still having this role, because it's like unless they bring out another character that just has an AOE active skill that you can use on turn one, like until that happens, he will just be the best World Tournament unit, right? So
I think it's okay that he's just like permanently in that spot because so it's like I've said this before. It's like I don't want them to be thinking about World Tournament when they're designing characters of that as like being their primary usage.
Yeah,
it should just be a byproduct, right? Where it's like I don't know if like maybe my junior that's what they were thinking, right? But he's still like when he released, it's not like he was bad outside of everywhere else. Like he was still a very good character. He had an extremely high ceiling with damage and the amount of supers he was doing. And then obviously 23rd World Tournament Goku. I mean, him post revive was crazy. I was definitely a huge shooter for that character. I was always on the side of like he was better than God Goku. Obviously that changed with time just because of the way numbers work. But yeah, I think that I guess that's all just kind of coming back to the point where I don't want them to be designing characters for World Tournament. It's like I'm okay with Piccolo Jr. just being the guy.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
We don't really need
through it. We don't really need another one, but
just take away the board, just please. Like that's all they got to do.
That is like there's so many different ways they could make the World Tournament better, but yeah, that's the number one. Just make it like an easy A, where it's like you click the button and then you're just in the fight like that. Yeah, that'd be so much easier.
If you're watching the VOD for this or you're in the chat, tell us how they can improve World Tournament other than getting rid of it. Right? Like how would you fix the World Tournament? I think the easiest answer is the board. People always say like auto mode, but I really don't think you'd want auto mode for World Tournament. You would definitely lose that way just because the CPU is not programmed. Like a turn that you don't get my junior on there and they just start clicking the orbs and they take attacks and stuff, you would definitely lose.
Yeah.
If you just kept doing it.
Yeah,
the prelims definitely a way. Now punish the tryhards. I mean, it's a competitive mode.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing. There is no way to like make it so that the only way to get the highest scores is to just play it non-stop, because essentially anytime there's anything competitive like in this kind of game, there will be those people that will be like, right, well, I'm just going to play it non-stop from start to finish, and it's like, well, you know, you're not beating those people unless you're going to do that as well, right?
Or I'm gonna play for 4 hours, then my friend's gonna play for 4 hours.
Yeah,
it's like, I know people that grind that mode pretty hard, and like I want to talk to them all the time and tell them like, you better be sleeping this weekend. It's like trust me, it's not worth it.
Yeah,
I get it, but people are competitive. I get it.
Very
it's just one of those things.
Yeah, it's just weird because it's like we talked about it before, and I know I've talked about it a lot because like I do a lot of streaming during the World Tournament, and it's just such a weird, it's such a weird game mode compared to everything else in the game, and like some of the other stuff that we talk about, like some of the events have gotten a little bit longer now, but like, you know, for most gacha games or most mobile games, they're designed so that you can, if you want, only play them for like 20-30 minutes, maybe like an hour a day, and that would be enough for like, you know, if a couple of new red zone stages come out, you could probably get those done in like a day or two if you're only playing like 30 to 40 minutes a day. And then they release a mode that is like, yeah, if you want to get the best score and get the best results, you have to play it for like multiple hours across 3 days in a row. It's like, it's just so weird compared to everything else.
It's not
in the
even
game.
multiple hours. It's all day.
Yeah, I mean, to get the missions, right? To do like the 30 million points thing, it's good that you can start on times 30 now.
That's a few hours.
That takes a few hours. That means you've got to do at least like an hour or so each of the 3 days, right? And then you could hit those missions if you don't want to just do it all in one go on the first day. Because I know some people will do that, right? Just go all out day one for like 3 or 4 hours, get to 30 million, get all the missions done, and then just not play anymore. But you could spread it out across the 3 days. But like, even then, it's like, that's just so different compared to everything else in the game until Festival of Battles came out, of course, because that was one of my primary complaints with that event, is just how long it takes, right? But
Yeah, the event that's not real, it never happened. It was all just in our imagination.
Yeah.
How was it? Was that title worth it though?
Oh yeah, totally. You know. I haven't played.
Hey,
I actually don't even remember the last time I went into it. It's got to be at least a month at this point.
I remember when I pulled Kid Goku, I was trying.
Well,
to,
they
like,
haven't released
kinda
any
sneak
like
in.
major stacking units into a hit right now, right? So
Yeah.
Right.
that's
There's not a reason to
concentrators. There's
go
not
in
really
there.
a reason for us to go in there.
It's like a non-stacking unit. Like, what am I proving? It's like it was kind of like a situation where people. This just reminds me of like when, like, X person on Twitter would say that really good character. This character is really good now because we're running them on the Beast team, right? Or it's like, oh yeah, just like any random TUR, right? It's like, oh, this character is back. And
Well, it's
like,
like
how'd you
when
do it?
there
I
was
had
that whole
2
meta
Pawns,
where
2 revives.
yeah, it's like there was that whole time when Orange Piccolo was considered number 1, and there was like a
Right.
couple of people like prominently on Twitter that were just like, any character that's on superhero is automatically better than like every other character because they're on the team with Orange Piccolo. It's like, huh? Good times.
Yeah.
Um,
It is fun.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, obviously we got like the couple of missions that came out.
Yeah,
but-
it's tough to talk about those sometimes, right? Because it's like sometimes it could just be like, yeah, I got lucky with my run. I did the full power thinking I was the man here about 45 minutes ago, and then I got it wrong, and now this Goku's beat my ass. But
Mhm. It is
you know,
funny
it's,
when you
it
look
is-
at those 2 stages, right, with the Goku. The only thing I guess I'll say about it is, it's funny when you look at those 2 stages, how much easier the Vegeta stage is compared to the Goku stage. Like, because Vegeta always super attacks in slot 1, and he doesn't disable dodge. So the event is just so much easier for multiple reasons. And then I think that's the only reason why the missions for the Goku category, especially if you are trying to do them with no items, which obviously when it comes to these difficult category missions, this is one of the things I was saying in my video, like, I like to do them, other people like to do them, like people like to do no item runs for like the extra challenge, but when you get those missions where they're using really like suboptimal categories, like the mission does not say that you don't have to use items, right? So if you are finding them difficult, just bust out those items. But it's like Universe 6, right, being a bad team for having to use them for the Vegeta event. But ideally you just get, you just employ the good old double tech Caulifla technique and have both of them in slot 1
and pull hit. I know
then-
some of us did that.
Well, that's the thing, I did it without hit. I used a hit friend, but
Yeah, I was just messing.
yeah, double tech Caulifla, both of them in slot 1 on both rotations, and you can never take damage from a super attack. So at least there's that. But yeah, the Goku one, I trying to do full power and tournament participants at the same time. Oof. Because the characters that are on full power and tournament participants, there's probably like 3 or maybe 4 that are actually good for that Goku event. And then everyone else, you're like taking big
I haven't
risks.
even done the missions yet.
Yeah, so like
I'm working on it right now.
like the physical blue boys, right? Like Blue Kaioken and Blue Evolution. Like they lower attack. If they get enough supers, they can have relatively good defense. But like they got me killed multiple times against that Blue Goku, where they'd get a turn where they do like 1 super. Even with the rainbow orbs picked up, they do like 1 super, then 3 normals, and then take 500k from a normal.
Classic.
Like, so it's yeah, a bit tricky, but I just, in the end, I just did the I actually did do tournament participants and full power at the same time, but I just did the use tech Vegito and then use 5 characters that fit under his leader skill, and then on turn
Oh, well, thank you for the strat. I appreciate that.
yeah, and then on turn 5 just transform 1 Vegito, and then on turn 6 transform the other Vegito. But even doing that, like I still had to end up using items because some of those other characters on that team, like physical Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, in Goku and Frieza, like if you're trying to do these both missions at the same time, like makes it significantly more difficult. So that's another thing to bear in mind. Of course, you don't have to do them both at the same time, and it's potentially a little
I'm
bit
not.
easier if you don't. So
I will say I've already lost because I'm trying it with the Gohan team. I guess because I didn't think to do what you said. I've already had to reset 2 runs because I got Kaioken Blue Goku and then double physical Gohan. All right, well, guess I'm resetting.
Oh yeah, that's the other
kinda
thing
where I'm at
actually.
right now.
The thing that I completely forgot about, because I think we mentioned it before the episode started, is
Mm-hmm.
they added missions to these stages, but these are a couple of the red zones where they still actually have the daily attempt limits as well, which is really annoying when it comes to trying to do some of these more difficult missions. I completely forgot, so that's why I
Yeah.
put my Goku one video out like the day after the event came out, because I actually used all of my daily attempts trying to do the no item attempts, not even thinking like, oh yeah, this event still has limited attempts per day. So I ended up not doing it on the first day because I used all of my attempts.
It's actually kind of funny.
We love attempt limits in this house.
At least there's only
And-
6 attempt limits, so it's not the worst.
Yeah, because also something we were talking about before the show, it's like shout out to the God event, right? It might have been earlier in the show, but only having 3 attempts,
Yeah,
right? And the OG red zones.
OG
where,
red zone, yeah,
you know,
3 attempts
A-
per day.
that A on like the hardest event ever.
Yeah.
With red zone Broly, right?
Yep,
Where,
that's so crazy.
with the Festival of Battles, it took a couple days, but everybody kind of knows the method now, right? Stack the 10 years to a certain amount and do all that fun stuff.
Mhm.
That red zone Broly was a gauntlet, man.
Yeah.
Especially the no item. That took forever.
Yeah, because it's literally a case of like you'd load into the STR phase, and if he was attacking multiple times in slot 1, it's like, well, I could literally just have an instant game over here unless I get lucky.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's funny. I think the only like no item that took me longer was Belmod.
okay.
That stage on release was a PIA. Everything that he did, right? Like that Belmod. I mean, it's like he had everything, right? He could double super, he could seal you, he could lock you.
Yeah.
You only got 3 tries per day. It was really like, I'm not gonna say it was the hardest event like of all time, but like that definitely had like the makings of just, every single day you get 3 tries, and more than likely you're not gonna get it. I remember using the the Tech Gohan and Piccolo banner unit in those
Wow.
rounds.
That was one of
It's
those.
just like,
That was one of those fun
Yeah.
times because it was back when Global was still getting like the anniversary after things like Golden Week and stuff like that, and because that was the same year, wasn't it? That was when we'd had the GT Super Saiyans Golden Week. So as a global player, we got the God event come out as part of the anniversary, and then like you could just, I don't want to say super easily because the stages were still quite tough, but like the GT Heroes team would just destroy like that event. And obviously those units weren't available on JP like when that event came out. So I'm pretty sure I did most of the difficult ones with the GT Heroes team.
Ginyu Force with the red zone, I think, was one of the more extreme examples where it's like, oh my god, all these red zone stages are free, and it's like, buddy, you're running double Ginyu or double AGL Ginyu here. Like, of
Well,
course it's
that
easy.
Global had 4 200% leaders by the time the 7th anniversary and the
Right.
Red Zone came out. Whereas obviously for JP, it's like if you didn't pull the Gods or the Super Saiyan 4s, like not only did you not have the best units in the game, but you didn't have a 200% leader at all. Whereas Global had Martian Vegeta, Cell and Gohan, and Ginyu. So
Yeah.
it was definitely considerably easier back then. So, good times.
I mean, but that's yeah.
It's
I mean,
all changed now.
It's all taken away.
All
Guess who's
synced.
complaining the most about difficult events now? I was gonna say I rest my case, but I never had a case. It's always just kind of funny, right? I mean, it's a bit of like, it's like, would you rather have the foresight and events be easier, or would you rather have the hype? I guess it just kind of comes down to a person-to-person basis, right?
Yeah, I was always
So
on the side of the sync. I think the hype is better, but it has been jarring, like being in that instance for the first time of having the stuff coming out, like obviously experiencing firsthand, like heroes getting power crept by the anniversary, and that only being like a month after they came out, instead
these
of
guys weren't
instead of like
we weren't talking out of our asses.
I know, right? Instead of good old days on Global when they at least had a good like 6 months or so where you could use them.
You guys would be stuck with Demon King Piccolo.
Man.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, what was the now that just reminded me of how Global had like your hardest fight was Fusion Zamasu for like a year.
Yeah, I think potentially something like that, right?
Yeah.
Because Omega came out after, so.
Yeah.
Oh. That's brutal. It's like, oh yeah, I've really been having
Because you
fun
had
in
Fusion
this.
Zamasu worldwide, and
Mhm.
then you didn't get Tanabata or Anniversary all the way until the next July.
Yep.
So you were pretty much close to a year with Fusion Zamasu, like 10 months basically.
Yeah,
And that was
it
the same
crazy.
case with Goku and Frieza, where it was like, because Jiren never dropped because they just like they didn't shadow drop him, but they just decided, hey, you know, it'd be a good time to drop Tech UI Goku, the anniversary. Let's do it. And so, like, it just never
But then
ended
it
up coming
didn't
with
drop
Jiren.
Goku Frieza because Jiren didn't come out. Yeah, so.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so it's just like it's funny how this stuff works. It's they're all over the place. Sometimes I'm convinced they. Do you guys think they know what they're doing? I don't know.
Maybe.
Sometimes, and then we get Golden Week Kaioken Goku. So.
What's wrong with him? I can't seem to figure it out. I mean, it's we didn't have like a 45-minute segment talking about it, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
But he's definitely got the people talking. You know, we have this this kind of yearly dead period before Golden Week, and it's like, how do we get right back into do it? Let's release a mid Golden Week character, and everybody's talking again.
Mm-hmm.
And how everybody's got an opinion, but I'm not sure. Any closing thoughts before Ningen wants to read our ever so generous support messages?
Honestly, no. I think we kind of covered the basics of what's going on.
Mhm.
Again, World Tournament, stuff like that, right? That's the only
Hype.
thing we didn't really talk about.
Suit
I
and
mean,
ties.
Goku Day is later this week, so maybe they'll do something. Maybe we'll have other Dragon Ball game announcements, but wait and see.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. I think this part 2 LR, I believe that'll be the next time we talk to you guys. They'll have dropped.
Yep.
So that'll be interesting. Hopefully it's not a repeat case of Ultimate Gohan and or Kaioken Goku, but if it is, it is. We'll talk about it. We'll complain, as a Dokkan player does.
Yeah.
And it'll be a good time. Because is Dokkan really Dokkan if we're not complaining?
It doesn't feel like it sometimes.
I will say I wasn't complaining when they gave us a free 10th anniversary LR.
Well, yeah, exactly.
On my bad, Go Tanks. They gave me a free Go Tanks because the game decided to be nice to me. Not really though. 6 Goku and Friezas and 700 stones. That's some BS.
Oof.
No Gohans.
Damn.
Get cooked, buddy.
That's
That's
crazy.
just bullying. What's
All right.
funny about that, now that I'm talking about it, the AGL LR Golden Frieza has a very similar silhouette to the Int Frieza.
Okay.
And I got a fake out of that Frieza. I'm like, no way that just happened, right? It was a fake out into that. And then the next unit was a fake out into the actual Frieza. So it's like, that kind of broke me. Not good.
Damn. All right. Well, in terms of support, we have one super chat that has come in from Drace. Shout out to you for the $5. It says, it's the 10th anniversary for Dragon Ball Super. So what's your favorite moment of the entire series? And what do you expect Dokkan to do now for Dragon Ball Super since Golden Week was the Universe 6 versus Universe 7 arc?
There's a lot of layers to that question.
Mm.
Let me look at it.
I mean, so like, what's your favorite part of Dragon Ball Super? It would have to be the Future Saga for me.
Yeah.
What else do we want to see? I don't know. I mean, I guess, there's a new Rose.
Yeah.
No, so there needs to be a caveat on that, though. A Rose that actually kicks ass.
Yeah. I was going to say, that's why Minato wants a new Rose, right? Because he's a hater of the physical
I mean, I'm
Rosé.
not going to ask for a new unit and then also hope they're bad. Like,
Well, yeah, but it's like, I mean, obviously, right? But it's just like, you got to double down on that one just because of their history with Goku Black. Or it's just like, can they get this release right for once? I think that's, but I mean, I'm just talking to talk.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, like, as much as I don't like the ending, because we've already talked about that for years, obviously, at this point. But yeah, the Goku Black arc is probably my favorite part of Dragon Ball Super. I think Zamasu and Goku Black are really good characters. I think it's funny because it was always a meme in the community for years, but it's like they finally did, like, quote unquote like evil Goku, but like did it in a good way, I thought. And yeah, I thought they were good characters. The ending of the arc was terrible. But yeah, that's probably my favorite part of Super. I'm not the hugest fan of the Tournament of Power. Like, it has hype moments in it for sure. But I feel a lot of it was like bloated and uninteresting. So in terms of what they could do next that is Dragon Ball Super related, it probably would be, like Bonato said, just kind of revisiting the future arc. Getting a good Rose would be nice. I mean, to be fair, at this point, we don't have a good base Goku Black either, or Zamasu, really, when you think about how the ones that we had have aged. So, like, all of those characters from the Future Saga, Vegito Blue, like a new Blue Goku or Vegeta or combo with, like, reversible exchange, like, all of that stuff, like, all of those characters from the Goku Black arc could get really good updated new units, especially with reversible exchange being a thing now. We can have a Goku Black plus Zamasu, Goku and Goku plus Vegeta, or like Goku and Vegeta plus Trunks or something. Could be very interesting. So yeah, for me, it's definitely the future arc.
Yeah, I really appreciate. Yeah, I really appreciate the way you talked about the Tournament of Power on your answer there, because I was gonna say that Goku versus Jiren definitely was kind of the peak of Super for me. I really enjoyed those fights, but I feel like that was definitely a little bit hard carried by Ultra Instinct, where there was just so many peaks of that arc were just moments of Ultra Instinct, right?
Yep.
Especially with the debut of the form and then just tapping back into it, especially with Kefla, then the kind of third access of it, and then obviously the transformation. I just think that was really the best that Super looked.
Yeah.
The ending of the episode, specifically like 130 and 131, just a lot of really good stuff in there. And UI Goku, I've just got a soft spot for. Always been a fan of those characters, and AGL UI is kind of like a hill that I just was willing to die on, even when, especially when his debate was like a hot topic with like Full Power Frieza. I never wavered in terms of that one, but. In terms of the future, it's like, yeah, I mean, the bases I've won have basically been covered with the Tournament of Power. It feels like we've gotten almost everything.
Yeah.
Really kind of like the LR Kefla is sort of that last piece in terms of maybe there's a couple things I'm not thinking about off the top of my head, but maybe like a Vegeta that kind of like sees through Jiren at that one point and everyone's kind of shocked. And then Jiren just, just like, all right, I guess enough of that. But yeah, it's kind of tough to say. I think you guys kind of hit the nail on the head. Now that we've seen Universe 6 versus Universe 7, we got to get back to the Future Trunks arc. It's because, like, obviously the beginning of Super is a bit tricky because it's just retellings of the movies.
Yeah.
So I think they're a little bit dicey there. One character that I've always, because with Universe 6 versus Universe 7, something that I've wanted to see for a long time was Vegeta from the Kaba fight, where he sort of has that moment, where he transforms into blue and then talks to Kaba and is like, don't forget this pain after he hits him and stuff like that. And just sort of the way how easy it is for them to like unlock Super Saiyans now, considering how, Goten and Trunks specifically within Z, it's just like these guys are 7 years old and they're Super Saiyans now. Gohan being, I believe it was 11 when he unlocked his. And now it's like Vegeta met Kaba 20 minutes ago and he's already a Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
Right. And Kalen Khalifa, obviously, the controversial tingling in the back, just to show how easy it was. And then obviously that's to emphasize the latent abilities and whatnot. But I think that would be a fun kind of representation from Super because we just don't have much of that, right? Maybe even a Kaba from that fight that's updated, I think would be cool too. Just because, again, it's really cool to just see like a new Super Saiyan that we just haven't seen before.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like, outside from like the Brolys of the world and stuff like that, just something I think that's cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure isn't like the only Vegeta that I think is even the Vegeta from that fight is there's like a random SR, like because he has like the grey and white like outfit and everything, doesn't he? So there's like barely any representation of him from that fight. So that could be cool.
Yeah,
like
the Resurrection F outfit.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat brought up the Trio of Danger as well. I brought them up in my predictions video yesterday. I was like, I don't think this will happen, but I suppose it's possible.
I doubt it.
Because they open up the Tournament of Power like, all right, Goku and Vegeta, let's go get rid of them. Like, we remember these guys from the initial fight. What about like a Topo from that exhibition where he just kind of shows up real quick and then fights Goku, and then Goku goes blue, and they're like, that's enough.
Could be interesting.
I mean,
Doesn't really do a lot, though, I think. Does it? Because isn't it one of the attacks that he does to Goku in that fight is the TUR Topo super attack, isn't it?
The Justice Tornado.
Yeah.
I think it's the Tornado.
Yeah.
A Topo intro with the cloak. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Of course, we didn't see him. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Obviously, hopefully, like, you know, maybe one day Super will actually continue, and then we can get some of the cool manga only stuff. But hey,
how many? Yeah, Daily Moro and Ego tweet.
But yeah, shout out to Drace for that one. And then we just have Jaren re-upped their membership, 33 months as a channel member. Their question is favorite units ever, which is, man,
an episode in itself.
Yeah, that is a tough question. Like,
my answer is pretty
just pick
simple.
one.
You want me to just let you
go
guys
for
think? AGLUI Goku, baby. I mean, that one's simple.
Yeah, fair.
That's so. Actually, funny enough, my favorite unit is also my worst shaft of all time. I know you guys have probably had worse, but me copy one took 2,500.
Oof, yeah, that is.
And that was brutal because I just remember like buying all the sales on that day and not getting them, and I was so mad because that was like the first time that ever
like
happened.
All
like,
in, yeah.
I just bought out the shop and like you go into those summons expecting like, all right, maybe I'll get one or two and like 500, and then I'll move on and go to Evolution Blue Vegeta, and then I find myself 10 minutes later 1,500 stones deep with Jack. I'm like, all right, well,
yeah,
I guess I learned my lesson.
That's crazy. And the worst part is when it's a dual Dokkan Fest as well, and you get mega shafted on like the first banner, and it's like you can't even go onto the other banner.
Yeah, I didn't get Evolution Blue Vegeta until like the buzzer. I remember this. I ended up pulling a copy of him while I was using the bathroom.
Damn.
Like after the Goku and Frieza Easy A.
Mine is gonna be Tech World Tournament 23rd of Goku.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say Ultimate Gohan.
And then Tech Gohan as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah. It's so hard to try and pick one. I know, like, in terms of a unit that
something
came
from Heroes. Come on.
I mean, there's been a lot of Heroes units that I do like, but in terms of like favorite unit ever,
wait a minute. I'm just gonna say Ningen is saying that Heroes is not in his favorite unit of all time.
I mean, the problem is, the thing is, as much as I love the Heroes units, like, no, I mean, Limit Breaker Vegito, I guess, was up there, because at least on release, he was, like, arguably the best TUR. But as much as I love Heroes in general, I don't think any one of them particularly has been, like, my favorite unit ever. I think in terms of just to pick a unit, because it is hard to pick one that's just like an all-time favorite, but to pick one unit that is like when that unit came out at that time, I was like, okay, this is my favorite unit in the game. Like straight away was LR STR Final Form Cooler.
Another one for me was the Tech Gods.
Yeah.
Tech Gods. I remember you were like, the gravy train was definitely out there for Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and then like I remember vividly, I think it was you, Sunblade, and I. We did a video like debating those three or those two, excuse me. And that was one of the things at the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That was that's always something. Leave your favorite unit in the chat and/or comments.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that. That's it for that. Appreciate you guys.
So, unless anybody else has anything to say, or that's going to wrap it up for episode 65 of the Slot 1 Super Podcast. Golden Week is here, but is it a hit? You guys tell us. But thank you, everybody, for coming out today. Appreciate you all. If you haven't already, don't forget to leave a like on the stream and or VOD when you're watching it and all of that fun stuff. Subscribe to the Masked Ningen if you have not already. Myself, Vilify, and Minato's Flash, and we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you in the next episode after the Part 2 LR has dropped.
Yep. Peace out.
Peace out.